Imagine holding a seed guaranteed to grow into something incredible, but whether it actually survives has absolutely nothing to do with the seed itself. 2,000 years ago, Jesus sat in a boat facing a massive crowd on the shore. He started teaching them, but instead of complex theology, he told a story about a farmer scattering grain. In the story, this farmer uses a reckless technique. He doesn't carefully plant rows, he just tosses seeds everywhere, across 4 completely different and mostly hostile terrains. The crowd was left confused, likely thinking this was just a lecture on bad farming practices. But in private, his disciples realized there was a specific architecture behind the story that the crowds were missing. In this system, the core elements are fixed constants. The sower is a constant. The seed, representing the Word of God, is also a constant. The only variable in the entire equation is the soil. This ancient agrarian story is actually an introspective psychological test. It asks the listener to look inward and identify which of the 4 soils mirrors their own mind. The first environment is a hard, heavily trafficked dirt path. The ground is so compacted that the seed can't penetrate it. It just sits fully exposed on the surface. This is the metaphor for a closed mind. A profound truth is heard, but due to apathy or stubbornness, it bounces right off. It never sinks in. Because the message remains unrooted and exposed, hostile forces, represented in the story by hungry birds, quickly swoop in and snatch the seed away before it even registers. The second handful lands on rocky ground beneath thin topsoil. Representing people who accept truth with enthusiasm, but lacking depth, their roots hit solid stone. When the inevitable heat of trials and hardships arrives, that shallow, emotion-based enthusiasm has nothing to draw from. The plant instantly withers and dies. The third scenario involves seed falling into ground already occupied by dormant thorns and weeds. This is the distracted mind. The soil is actually rich enough to support life, so the good seed and the toxic weeds begin to grow simultaneously in the same space. But the thorns are aggressive. They represent the worries, the pursuit of riches, and the fleeting pleasures of daily life. Over time, these distractions slowly suffocate the good seed, starving it of light and nutrients. Finally, the last handful of seed lands in good soil. This is deep, clear, rich earth that has been perfectly prepared for planting. This represents the receptive, noble heart. A person hears the word, clings to it, and perseveres through the heat and weeds that destroyed the others. The math of this final outcome is staggering. Because the environment is right, that single seed produces a harvest yielding 30, 60, or even 100 times what was originally sown. This specific output depends on the quality of the soil and the active absence of rocks and thorns that doomed the previous 3 environments. There is an irony to this story. We call it the parable of the sower, yet the sower does absolutely nothing to change the outcome. He just walks and throws. When you look at the raw odds, 75% of the environments presented result in total failure. It illustrates a mechanical reality. Truth will not force its way into a hardened heart, and it won't magically clear a mind cluttered with distractions. The environment dictates the growth, yes, but human beings are not static pieces of real estate. We possess the agency to change our own environment. A hard path can be plowed, shallow stones can be dug up, and choking thorns can be uprooted. The end result of that grueling, deliberate work is a life capable of receiving and multiplying good things. To experience a 100-fold yield, we can't passively wait for the right seed to fall. We must actively, daily, cultivate our minds to be ready to receive it.